I mean, of course, there has to be safeguards. Safeguards are really important.
And that's your news at 7:02.
News Talk weather.
Thanks to Ryanair. Release your dad bod this summer with low-fare flights to Ibiza, Malaga or Zadar.
Staying mainly dry and clear tonight with lows of 2 to 6 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
The Newsround on Off the Ball.
With Gillette Labs. Get the ultimate shave or your money back. Neon Night Edition available now.
This is News Talk.
Now then, you're welcome along. So it's a Tuesday evening. I'm losing track of the days. Tuesday evening. Second major of the year is upon us. Oak Hill in Rochester, New York is where the great and the good of golf have gathered. Gary Murphy will be with us this hour to preview what should be a very interesting major. A few controversies, meanwhile, are bubbling away in the world of tennis. The French Open starts on Monday coming. Caitlin Thompson, always a brilliant guest, is with us after 8 o'clock. We'll talk some hurling as well in the middle hour. And then it is a Champions League evening, so very happy to say Gavin Cooney will be on the football show. Kathleen McNamee will fill us in on the culmination as well of the WSL season, where Chelsea are going for a double. They have the FA Cup in the can already, and they're on the cusp of the double. They have 2 more games left in the league. That would be 3 doubles in a row. So I think we're calling that dominance on Chelsea's part. 53106, the text number. We're at Off the Ball on Twitter. We have Will here in studio. Hello.
Evening, Joe. I know that you were putting the prep in for the PGA Championship when you were on your second coffee since you've come to the office, and you have to question which day of the week it is.
Yeah. I'm not sleeping well this week.
Being a young father will probably be part of that too. But
oh my God,
you've obviously got major fever at the moment.
It's one of those nights. But listen, happy to be here and sip the coffee.
That's good.
And watch some Champions League football. Richie McCormack, good evening to you.
You're happy to be out of the house, Joe. Let's be honest about this.
Well, indeed.
Tonight's show ran over time. Sorry, I'm home late.
Pretty interesting.
Extra time and then extra time and then more
exactly.
extra time and it's on zero. Yeah.
No, there were penalties. Yeah, look. Derry Armagh there. So the PGA Championship usually was the last major of the year. Now it's very much second in the rota, and it's in May as opposed to August these days. So as I said, the great and the good have pitched up in Rochester, New York. Gary Murphy will preview. It does seem like John Rahm's on the cusp of winning majors, plural, in the short term. And Scotty Scheffler has maintained his form from last year. Rory McIlroy, less so. Now, he was giving a press conference today, and I was curious to see his demeanour and what he would be talking about, because, in effect, Rory had this glorious 2022 in every possible way, except just getting over the line in one of the majors. He had the 4 majors together, and he was just like by a shed load, like 2 or 3 times ahead of the nearest challenger in terms of his score to par. Should have won the Open at St Andrews. Amazing form. And then into this year, the form was not as good, but still the Masters beckoned and missed the cut there. Since then, it's just been very strange. Skipped the event the following week, which was a designated event. That cost him $3 million. And then he pitched up at Quail Hollow, where he'd won 3 times before, last week, 2 weeks ago, and finished like in a tie for 50th. Didn't play well, but interestingly for him, did no press conference, did no media, spoke to one journalist on the Tuesday, got out of there Sunday without doing any media. So just kind of that weird month in his life. And he pitched up today and did media. So just kind of interesting. We'll get into it more with Gary Murphy, but for the last 18 months, 24 months, Live Golf, the Saudis, Rory says, gather around everyone, let me talk, and I will talk at length. And he's kind of become the de facto leader on tour. So pretty interesting today. You'll recognise the voice. It's Alan Shipnook, friend to Phil Mickelson, of course. He asks, this is about maybe 5-10 minutes into the press conference, which is, about the standard amount of time before a live question comes in.
Rory, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the first Live Golf tournament. If you could look into your crystal ball, maybe say 3 years from now, where do you think the professional game will be?
I don't have a crystal ball.
Don't want to speculate?
No.
Right. So you sort of hear Shipnook there going, right, this is really out of keeping with the last 18, 24
I've asked
months.
you a wonderfully open-ended question where you can interpret that whatever way you want, answer it widely, and you just said, nah, I'm not answering that.
Yeah, in quite an ostentatious way. Like, you could have said something about Liv which was borderline conciliatory, certainly not controversial. instead he made a real point of saying, And so press conference proceeded. He talked a lot about his game. Like, he's very forthcoming in that, to be fair to him still, and he's always a brilliant interviewee. But then just before the end of the press conference, which was about maybe 20 minutes long or so, somebody else clearly in the room thought, well, hang on, that LIV thing was kind of interesting.
If I might just throw in one last one. You mentioned earlier about not having a crystal ball. Obviously, we all ask you a lot of questions about LIV, and you've spoken yourself recently about the burden of that. Is it going to be a conscious thing for you going forward to try and sidestep that narrative?
Yeah.
Perfect.
The shutters are down.
I found the nervy perfect, quite funny. Yeah, perfect. That's great. That's exactly what I wanted. Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Rory.
So it's like, there you go. The McIlroy being the spokesperson, the chief spokesperson against LIV era, over with a bang.
Now, wasn't Greg Norman saying a couple of weeks ago, I'm pretty sure I read that he was kind of turning a little bit, or Rory's opinion was possibly changing. Is that an indication of that, or is it just I'm absolutely sick of LIV being the agenda every single time I come to play?
I think it's something odd happened to me at Augusta. Amongst other things, because there were some problems with his swing perhaps, but amongst other things, I ran out of steam, and borderline single-handedly being the player who fights the fight against LIV has actually taken a toll on me over the course of however many months, certainly a year. And so I think amongst probably several other resolutions post-Augusta, he has said, I am not doing that anymore. Like, Scotty Scheffler is on like a players' council, the same one that McIlroy's on. He never says boo about LIV. John Ram.
Isn't the major work actually done as regards the players' council and the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and the work that he would have done alongside this endeavour that he's undergoing with Tiger Woods to launch this kind of TV series thing? Like, that's the stuff that I'd imagine would take up the majority, not the odd 15-minute press conference here and there.
Yeah, fair point. And there was certainly an occasion in advance of the Masters where he had a 7-8 hour board meeting. You know, that is going to take your toll instead of practicing your putting and your chipping. But I don't know, maybe to an extent when you're involved in controversy and headlines, and there is a part of McIlroy, I think, who really enjoys the spotlight and likes being in the headlines and likes being talked about. But maybe after a year of it, and then other people from the LIV side attacking you and you having to attack back, and just this endless, never-ending circle, you kind of think to yourself, maybe this is taking more energy out of me than it should. And so
maybe he wants the spotlight to be on, I've just won the PGA Championship, my major dread is over, put the spotlight on me for that, not for I am the guy who you always talk about underachieving at majors, but yet I'm at the forefront of fighting back against a rival tour.
Yeah. All of that. So I don't know where we are. It's going to be interesting. Like last year, his final round at Augusta rejuvenated him and he kicked on for the rest of the season. I'm sure there's probably half a worry out there that will the reverse happen on the back of Augusta this year, and this week feels like a very important one in his season. Interestingly, one last quick other point, and Gary Murphy will join us at 7:30 to preview the US PGA. So Eamon Lynch of the Golf Channel revealed that when McIlroy was playing at Quail Hollow a couple of weeks ago, he checked his phone in the days afterwards, and there was a text from Mr. T. Woods, who was saying, I've seen something in your swing. Think I could help you out. Come to my house. And so Rory was summoned by Yoda, and Skywalker himself went there and genuflected, and they had several hours together at Woods' home. He's got this great complex in his back garden, which is like has every kind of golf shot you want to hit is catered for. And Tiger did some intensive work, it seems, with McIlroy. He didn't talk about that in the press conference at all. It didn't come up. But it's such an interesting thing going on in the background as well.
Tiger's always seemed to have a huge respect for Rory. Like, Rory does not hide the fact that Tiger Woods was his hero while he was growing up. Is this part of the new Tiger that we were talking about before, where I remember there was always this feeling that Tiger Woods never gave anything back, that the guy only cared about himself and didn't really, put the hand out to anyone. And now is this him coming in to try and help Rory at a time when Tiger's about to exit stage left eventually?
I think it's just, it's an implicit acknowledgement that my competitive days are over.
But I can make you better.
Yeah.
Ronnie Reardon and Ronnie O'Sullivan style.
I can be an elder statesman, and he does the same for Justin Thomas. John Ram has complained before,
he's not one of Tiger's favourites.
Tiger won't give me any info. Telling Justin Thomas everything. Gives me nothing. Like,
well, if he's gone to McIlroy, he's hardly putting over the young kids on the way out. He's like gone to the perennial world number 2 or world number 3, and gone. Oh, something. It's not like he's picking up a gathering of 50, the ranked 50 to 60 in the world and gone.
Let's make Nike's number 2 a bit better.
He's yet to text me. I grant you. Game respects game. There is no doubt. But yeah, so it's really interesting on a whole host of fronts. Gary Murphy is with us 7:30 and Caitlin Thompson after 8 o'clock on tennis. And of course, it is a Champions League evening, which is your first port of call, Richie, in the Newsround, which is, as ever, brought to you with Gillette Labs. Get the ultimate shave or your money back. Neon Night edition available now. So, the Milan derby. Is this one done?
Yeah, I don't think so. But what if it's actually Tiger Woods is correcting your grammar in these letters that you revealed last night?
No, he's from Tipperary.
Who's to say? I don't know.
I don't. Well, Tiger Woods is providing an Irish mobile number if it is Tiger, so I don't think so.
Well, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. It's more than a decade since Milan has been represented in a Champions League final. That will change tonight. The last time either Inter or AC Milan were there, they went on to win the competition. Inter hold a 2-0 first leg lead over the Rossoneri going into tonight's semi-final second leg at the San Siro. Inter are unchanged from that first leg, so they line out with Andrea Onana in goal. Back three then of Matteo Darmian, Francesco Acerbi and Daniele Bastoni. Across the middle, it's Denzel Dumfries, Nicola Barella, Hakan Çalhanoğlu, Henrik Mkhitaryan, a goal scorer from the first leg, and Federico Di Marco. Up front then, Lautaro Martinez and Edin Dzeko. 3 changes for Milan tonight, not in goal though, where Mike Maignan continues. Davide Calabria captains the side from right back. Malik Thiaw comes in for Simon Cher alongside Fikayo Tomori and Teo Hernandez in the midfield. In defence, in midfield then, Sandro Tonali and Rade Krunic. Junior Macias comes in on the right hand side. Brahim Diaz is in behind and Rafael Leao returns on the left wing. Olivier Giroud continues up front. Kickoff is at 8 p.m. A place in the Championship playoff final also up for grabs tonight. Sunderland take a 2-1 lead with them to Kenilworth Road for the second leg of their semi-final with Luton Town. Luton boss Rob Edwards was asked if there's a danger his players could be swept up in the atmosphere tonight.
I'm not sure there's anything wrong with getting swept away with an unbelievable atmosphere and occasion. Why not? Let's let it carry us and help us. So we've got to use that. And so we want the crowd to be wild and we want the crowd to be right at it. And theirs was on the weekend. It was a brilliant atmosphere. I'm not sure. I know they're fans. I know they have a lot of fans, and I know they turn out in their numbers. But I'm not sure how good it's been. If it's been that good for a long, long time. But we've got to make it really, really difficult for them. We need the crowd to play their part in that as well. We want to then make sure we play our part and give our fans something to shout about.
Updates across the evening. Milan, much of a chance in your eye, Will, after the first leg?
Well, they're definitely boosted by the fact that Rafael Leao is available to play this time around after missing a few games recently and missed the first leg. Milan, again, have had very disappointing and very indifferent form since they beat Napoli in the Champions League, and it came down to the fact that their players had to stand in front of their ultras, especially at the weekend, and listen to the abuse that they were getting, where they were obviously coming off the back of a very disappointing performance against Inter in the first leg. It is remarkable enough that you've got the chance of Matteo Darmian and Henrik Mkhitaryan going to a Champions League final here. Players who were cast aside from Premier League clubs, and Inter have found a way to, again, put a very reasonable team together. I thought Lukaku might actually play tonight based on what Inzaghi had been saying during the week about the fact that he was back looking fit and sharp again and that he was ready for a big finish to the season. But you can understand why they would stick with an unchanged 11, and you're looking at Milan trying to find form out of somewhere, but 2-0 is not insurmountable to come back into this. Like, to give the cliche, Milan have to score in the first half, not concede a goal, and then they've got a chance of coming back into this. But I would fancy Inter to progress even if they didn't have the lead.
Yeah, I would think so. Sarah says, I like this new Rory McIlroy, all business. And then 2 texts with a similar vein of thought. Rory going to go to LIV, Joe? And somebody else, I interpret that as Rory is going to jump ship. You heard it here first. That would just be too funny. I don't think that's going to happen. Jack and Kerry, question for Joe. If you had the chance of interviewing Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods or Phil Mickelson, 1 full hour, no holds barred, if they all were committing to have some truth serum and tell the truth, then obviously Tiger Woods. If they were going to come, as I suspect they would come, to an hour-long interview, and I was just under pressure to get a great interview, then Phil Mickelson.
Has to factor in you've interviewed Rory McIlroy before.
I've never.
No, really?
I've never spoke to him.
Wow. He's been on the show a few times, so you missed out every time.
Yeah. There was a night, Ger was here, certainly. It was a Thursday. I was, weirdly, I was in Germany at a Republic of Ireland Germany match in...
The John O'Shea game?
No. It was like the one... God, it's a long time ago now.
The Stan one?
No. 2013 territory. It was in... Why can't I remember the name of the city?
Was it in Gelsenkirchen or something
was it the Georgia game that we played in Thingamajig in Germany? Was that why you were there? No. This is great radio.
Yeah, no. Where were you in 2016? Wasn't he on the show ahead of the Irish Open that year?
No, I'll remember it again. Where's the cathedral? The famous cathedral in Germany?
In
Cologne.
Yes,
it was in Cologne. Mesut Ozil was a dream. That's my strongest memory of it. Like, Germany killed us. Mesut Ozil was, honestly.
It's funny.
Johnny Logan did the national anthem though.
Did he? Well, you may well have.
He did, yeah.
I was down at pitch level and I came away going, oh my God. I mean, I knew the boy. I knew the boy was good, but this was a different level.
In my mind, at least, Joe, I remember John O'Shea's equaliser. I remember Robbie's equaliser, the Shane Long goal, and I just try and block out every other game we've played against Germany for the last 20 years.
Do you know what was mad about it? Actually, now that I'm thinking, God, this is a long time ago, is that Noel King was managing the team on an interim basis.
This was just after Trap then?
Yeah, it must have been 2013 territory. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, Noel King was Ireland manager. There's a trivia question for you. But the night that Rory was in, John Giles was in as well. So I think somebody had the good sense to say, you're like an Irish sporting legend. So are you. Would you two get in a picture together? So there is a great photo somewhere. Wow. Yeah, it's knocking around. You'd find it online, I would think, of Rory McIlroy and John Giles arms around each other. John obviously loves his golf.
And Jared just had to stand out of the picture and take it.
Well, I don't know, but then Rory was in studio for the guts of an hour. So, yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah, there it is. John has his little hat on as well.
Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah.
That's gorgeous. Yeah.
Like, John really loves his golf. I mean, he's the kind of fella, he was once asked, like, and it's gone back a while, who's your favourite golfer? Like, he didn't say Tiger Woods. He was like, Retief Goosen.
Wow.
Like, if your favourite golfer to watch is Retief Goosen.
The thinking man's answer.
Yes, indeed. Richie, where are we going next?
We will head to Cork. Their hurler Robbie O'Flynn has been ruled out for at least 6 weeks with a hamstring injury. He sustained the problem in scoring his goal in their drawn game with Tipperary nearly a fortnight ago. O'Flynn's injury means he's unlikely to play again unless Cork make the All-Ireland semi-finals. The semi-final lineup for this year's Electric Ireland Leinster Minor Football Championship will be set tonight. There was a 7 p.m. start at Glenisk O'Connor Park, where Offaly lead Louth by 1-5 to 1-2. They're underway at 7:30 at Chadwick's Wexford Park this evening, where Wexford go up against Meath.
Lehman Mayo. Lads, why have Donal Óg's comments about the Tailteann Cup gone so under the radar? So counterproductive for such a prominent GPA man to be talking like that. Imagine Tom Parsons making those comments about the Joe McDonough. We would never hear the end of it.
Have they gone under the radar? Colin O'Rourke has spoken twice about them now.
Yeah, I don't think
on
they have.
OTB AM this morning, yeah. Rourke talked about it at length this morning on OTB AM, so I'd encourage our listener to check that out for sure.
I haven't seen that interview yet. I did see him earlier in the weekend say that I think he used the phrase gentleman, but wouldn't pay much heed to the comments from that gentleman's mouth.
Essentially, I don't care what he says. Yeah, but in nicer language.
The gist of the Donal Óg comments were, this was on his I think his Radio 1 segment on Friday.
Radio 1, 8:30 Friday morning, yeah.
Yeah, so he said the GAA schedule has 2 provincial football finals and the start of the Tailteann Cup, which, if you haven't heard of it, is a sort of Gaelic football Grand National for disappointed also-rans. Yeah, it's a bit of a needless... Everyone's heard of the Tailteann Cup, so you don't even need to go there in the first place. But even if you are going there, it is a needless sort of a dig. I heard pretty much every manager I heard interviewed over the weekend was asked about, of course, in the Tailteann Cup, his comments. So I don't think it's gone under the radar.
No, I definitely think it's gone under the radar, to the point that the Sunday game he was being celebrated for standing up for hurling and the fact that hurling perhaps wasn't getting the promotion, and then 5 days later he has a dig at the Tailteann Cup, which I think, in fairness to Donal Óg, having listened back to the clip, I think was partly in jest. I don't think he was trying to put this as a serious moniker for the Tailteann. But at the same time, obviously, football people and quite a few people who are getting ready for the Tailteann have taken this as an affront. And I think as well, it's always been the narrative, and the worrying narrative around the Tailteann is that it would be perceived in that way, that it would be a competition for also-rans. And even when the language is used that a team is going to drop into the Tailteann Cup as opposed to being in the Tailteann at the end of the league, there's always this negative connotation that if you finish too low in Division 2, you might get stuck or drop into the Tailteann Cup.
Well, tough luck on that front.
Yeah.
You are dropping into it.
100%.
Yeah, so I've no problem saying dropping into the Tailteann. Fair enough if there was a degree of, okay, not everyone makes great jokes all the time. It wasn't like he was saying the Tailteann Cup's a bad idea.
No, but there's been a battle for hearts and minds, and what tends to happen is that you'll get players at the end of the provincial championships now who will say, I'm going in a J1 for the summer as opposed to playing in the Tailteann. And there was a worry that it would become like some of the B competitions of old, which maybe weren't fully embraced by the teams that were in it, and they fell to bits. The Tommy Murphy Cup is the classic example where I think guys went to Punchestown for what would have been witness or auction, I'm not sure what was branded at the time, as opposed to playing championship football. And that's obviously where the GA don't want this to go. But where Donlug missed the trick is he should have said the Tailteann Cup is actually getting loads of promotion for a second tier competition. Wouldn't it be great if the Joe McDonagh got the equivalent in hurling? But instead he has a bit of a jibe, and then that ends up being hit out at by quite a few football people. And we'll hear from Paddy Andrews a bit later in the show on the football pod, who was particularly scathing of the comments.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go, Texter. Lots of people not happy with them, and we're giving out about them. I guess there are bigger things going on as well. So, Giro d'Italia.
Yeah, it's turned out to be a very good one for Irish riders. Eddie Dunbar is up to 9th on general classification after today's 10th stage of the Giro. He finished comfortably within the peloton along with new pink jersey wearer Geraint Thomas. Dunbar's jump up general classification has been helped by the weekend withdrawal of previous leader Remco Evenepoel, and then today by the 7th place, at least he was, Alexander Vlasov. Today's stage itself was won by the Dane Magnus Cort Nielsen, who has now won stages on each of the 3 major Grand Tours. Thomas holds a slender 2-second lead over Primož Roglic, with Dunbar 2 minutes and 32 seconds back. Meanwhile, risk of avalanches has seen the Grand St. Bernard Pass taken out of Friday's route for stage 13. The stage has been shortened as well by 8 kilometres to 199 as a result.
The Stormers pitch is often in dreadful shape. It's hosting a URC Grand Final very shortly, so they're conscious of that fact.
There are every effort being made to prevent the surface at the DHL Stadium in Cape Town from deteriorating even further ahead of that grand final. The pitch has come in for stern criticism following the Stormers' knockout wins over Connacht and before that the Vodacom Bulls. It's chewed up badly in the wake of a monster truck event there, which was held on April 22nd. To stop it worsening, Friday's Curry Cup meeting of Western Province and the Pumas has been moved from the DHL Stadium to the 34,000 capacity Athlone Stadium, not in the Midlands but just 15 kilometres east. Stormers prop Stephen Kitsoff says it's a difficult pitch on which to scrummage.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's you have to play the field and I think the nice thing is we've been playing there after Monster Jam a couple of games now in a row. So it's you have to take the field in consideration. It's not the easiest thing to scrum on, and it takes a lot of time and effort to actually start building a good momentum in the scrums. There's going to be a lot of static scrums, I can promise you that. When it comes to the final, it's going to be scrums that it's going to stand still, but we'll work hard in the next 2 weeks to make sure we get some go forward when it comes to scrum time. I saw Leinster put Munster under a bit of pressure towards the end. It's a similar mindset we'll take into this game.
We talked about it last night on Monday Night Rugby. Rory O'Connor was in and Gordon Darcy was on the line as well. I have never looked forward to a game more since seeing the Stormers celebration video. It's so good. So I presume many of you at this stage have seen it. They're counting down as Munster are about to beat Leinster. They're watching the game at the Stormers stadium because they've just beaten Connacht themselves, and it's 5, 4, 3, 2, ball goes out of play. They start cheering manically. And now they have said that one of the reasons that they were cheering so vociferously is that they were very happy for their corporate sponsors, DHL, because they also are sponsored by Munster, and so it's a DHL bonanza, and they were just thrilled.
Oh, God.
Thrilled for their sponsors. And
glass
also,
panes around the building were put out as noses were sent through them. Yeah,
it's good
unbelievable.
Stuff. I've got it, said someone. I've got it. But the best part of the video is when it, as Rory was telling us yesterday, when it cuts to, I think it's one of their props, I don't know, it's someone in their front row anyway, and he turns to the camera and he screams, "We're gonna F them up." Now the video has since been deleted, but honestly, if Munster don't have the phrase "we're gonna F them up" written on a giant whiteboard for the next 2 weeks, then I can't help.
Yeah,
there it is, folks. We're gonna F you up. I mean,
And if not, you get free tickets to the next monster truck rally.
Well,
like, of
indeed.
all the reasons, I realise that, you know, Ed Sheeran pretty much cancelled the Irish Sporting Summer last year, but a monster truck rally.
Listen, got to pay for...
On your pitch in the middle of the season before the playoffs start.
Monster Jam. The thing is with the East Oaks, you usually cover over the pitch and, you know, make sure it's okay. And there's all these plastic flooring and all that stuff you put down for gigs and that. You don't literally just send in the monster trucks and tear it up when you've got like major games on the horizon.
I presume they would cover it up. They're not just having monster trucks drive around the pitch.
Did you see it against Connacht? There's like particularly in the road towards the end goals.
It's always terrible, yeah. And even the Lions tour, it was shocking. It's always bad, that pitch.
You'd want to have a hell of a protective surface for monster trucks going at each other.
Yeah.
Whatever about people coming in there for a concert.
No, it is true.
Hey, money's money.
It sure is. We are out of time. Will, thank you very much. We'll be back talking some hurling in the next hour. Richie, thank you very much.
Nice one, lads.
Your chance to win big. News Talk's cash machine.
Now then, cash machine's been reloaded. The new number is €30,201.79. Text play to